Yeah. Amazing how much self-confidence I've lost, actually, since allowing my brother onto my Facebook friend list. It really is quite extraordinary that my family still has the same effect on me that it did all the years that I was in Southampton. Actually, till I was 49 years old. And, of course, my brother at that time had been up north in Thorn for, oh, good God, well, before 1984 anyway. Yeah, before 1984. Not exactly sure quite when. Oh, a nice one. It's phrased as if it were a matter of opinion and not a matter of fact. I was foolish enough to say I'd like to hear your voice again. This to my brother. I don't particularly want to communicate by message on Facebook. I want to hear your voice. And this was when I hadn't been sure before. Well, I didn't have his telephone number. But anyway, just as I don't subscribe to your politics, Aileen, this is my sister-in-law. Well, she was. I excise her from my life. She's nothing to do with me at all anymore. Does not subscribe to my assessment of your relationship with Dad. My relationship with Dad makes it sound voluntary for a start. And I let all kinds of comments like this go for a period of 4 months. I let them go. I didn't fight back. This is key to getting on with my family. I always had that choice between keeping what was left of my family and telling the truth. And I was given it again for 4 months. Until I said enough, basically. My assessment of your relationship with Dad. Then he completely changes the subject without changing paragraphs. It's as if my father's incestuous relationship with me from early childhood was political in some way. This is like me saying to him, oh, no, let's assume he says to me, actually, Mum used to beat me with a belt when I was a boy. And then my husband, if I still had one, coming along and saying, I'm sorry, I don't believe that. And because I don't believe that, I am not going to let you talk to your brother on the phone, his phone in his house. This is the equivalent. And whether I believed him or not wouldn't be a matter of saying I believe you. It would be a matter of saying I subscribe to your assessment. No. My husband does not subscribe to my assessment of your relationship with Mum. That would be the equivalent. No paragraph. You are not going to make a socialist of me any more than I will bring Aileen on board with your entente. I couldn't make a socialist of him any more than I could turn the sky, oh, I don't know, purple with yellow spots. And I wouldn't try. I'm not interested in his, well, I despise his politics. He's a Tory. Verging towards Nazi like his father. But anyway, I wouldn't waste my time trying to turn him into a socialist. But I do, these days, insist on my right to post whatever I like politically on my timeline. And if my friends don't like it, they always have the option of unfriending or blocking, or just scrolling past, or even unfollowing. Aileen already struggles to understand how I reconcile my position on Dad and my new relationship with you. What is his position on Dad? He's previously said that he believes it, but he doesn't want to. I'd have to come up with those messages as well. He does believe it, but you know, he'd really rather not. I must have missed something here. My first loyalty is to my wife, always will be. The position you are taking will make me choose sides. So I ask you, consider, don't act in a mood of deep hurt. Well, what I had actually said to him, oh, yes, I have got this in the wrong order. Oh, yes. Blast. Right. Yeah. This was where I asked him about the phone call. Aileen will simply not accept that Dad was other than the man she respected as a father-in-law. Now, inasmuch as my nephew complained that he had never seen my parents, it's a reasonable assumption that my brother's wife never saw much of them either. And in fact, I know she didn't. I know that she did not. So in a dozen, or at the most 24 hours, somehow her assessment of this man, who was indeed very nice to her, he was very nice to all women. That's how he got them on side. Aileen will simply not accept that Dad was other than the man she respected as a father-in-law. So she will not agree to our landline as a medium. I love Aileen dearly, and I'm not about to have a huge falling out with her. Bluntly, she thinks you must be mad to talk of Dad as you do. This after he's accepted the truth of what I've said. I'll have to go back and record those messages too. I actually admire her defense of Dad. After all, he wasn't her dad. He admires her. Anyone with an imagination might possibly be able to imagine my reaction to that. Well, how I felt, not what I said. Having had time, this is what I said. Having had time to think over our conversation, you'll understand that I don't want Aileen at my funeral. Somehow, some of the messages have been cut in half. It's got no easy, and I must have said no easy way to say that. I don't see why that's unreasonable, really. This is a woman who doesn't believe in my life, who doesn't believe what I say, who won't allow her husband to be in contact with his sister, who hasn't got much time left, frankly. What's the problem with my not wanting her at my funeral? I truly don't understand. I'm not saying I don't want him at my funeral. He's welcome. He came to my graduation without his fucking wife. Thank God. Or I wouldn't have wanted him at my graduation either, to be honest, and that was back then. And then it gets worse. God only knows how he thought I would react to this. I find her defence of Dad quite heartening. Consider, her only knowledge of the man was as a father-in-law. There's one admission for you. Her only knowledge of the man was as a father-in-law. She saw the amiable man he was. Most paedophiles are amiable. That's how they entrap their victims, or their victims' parents, or whatever. So defending the memory of a man who has no blood relatives deserves admiration, not condemnation. So now he's telling me what I should feel about that. I'm supposed to admire this bloody cunt. With apologies, 2 menstruating vulvas. I was supposed to admire this thing for not believing me, for believing in a man who was the devil incarnate, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not allowed to condemn her for that. This is just exactly how it always was with my family. Well, anyway, I now want neither of them at my funeral, nor any of their offspring, nor anyone, nor any member of the family who began life as an Oakley. Oh, I would have to accept my older daughter from that, because it was my name at the time that she was born. I would have to exempt her from that. That's all. No other person in my family whom I know, who's ever been known as Oakley, is required at my funeral. And as my father said to me, it was rather different. He said, if you have anyone praying over me at my funeral, I will come back and haunt you. Well, I didn't have anyone praying over him at his funeral. I seem to recall there was a vicar there, organised by my brother. So it seems quite unfair, actually, that he has haunted me ever since. But that is exactly what I say. If anyone who began life as an Oakley, apart from my older daughter, attends my funeral, I will haunt them in the worst way.